Hello and welcome back. In this lesson we'll be focusing on formal and informal speaking. We will see when and where it is appropriate to use either of these forms. So, how formal and informal we are depends on the reason for communicating and the relationship we have with the person we are speaking to. Informal, we tend to use informal language with the people we are close to and in situations we feel comfortable in, maybe with friends or family. Formal, however, we are more formal with people we don't know and in situations that are more difficult and uncomfortable. So maybe with someone who's new to you, or maybe somebody who's in a higher position to you at work. So being polite. Some people can actually become offended and think you're being rude if you do not talk to them in the appropriate manner. It's always best to start talking formally with someone first, then you can start to become less formal in the way that you speak. You wouldn't walk up to the Queen and say, "Heya, how's you?" So here are some examples over here. So formal. If we're, say, at an interview, we would say things like, "Thank you. Would you mind passing me the jug of water? Please may I borrow this pen?" You would ask very politely and use appropriate words such as please and thank you. Whereas if you're informal, where it's with friends or family, you don't need to be so formal. You can just be informal, relaxed, and you can use more abbreviated words. For example, thanks, cheers, instead of thank you. Instead of saying, "Would you mind pass me the jug of water?" "Could you pass me the water jug?" "Pass me the water jug." "Pass over the water jug" is fine as well. "Please may I borrow this pen?" "Would you give me the pen for a minute?" "Give us the pen." "Pass the pen, please." So, it all depends on who you're talking to and where you are, the situation you're in. So remember, different people, different situations. We can say and put our point across in many different ways. However, if you want to become an advanced speaker, you need to know how to talk appropriately to different people. You must understand the time to be formal and the time to be informal. So, we can use different words depending on who we are speaking to. So if we're talking to family, you can just say, "My tummy is hurting." Whereas if you're talking to the doctor, you want to be more formal, don't you? So you would say, "I'm having stomach pains." If you're just talking to a friend, "Let me know when you get my card." Very, very simple. If you're talking to the bank, however, you want to be more formal. "Please confirm receipt of my documents." So, when you're learning English, generally, you start talking more informally. So if you can learn to produce sentences where you are using more formal structure, you can use them in more advanced situations. So here's just a summary. Even if you are an expert at speaking the language, you can still be misunderstood if you're not talking appropriately to the person listening. They could get the wrong message and could even end up upset or annoyed with you. Remember, if you're not sure how to speak to someone, start off formally. Yeah. So, if you are really not sure how to address somebody, start off formally. When you start formally, you give off a good impression. You give off that you are you're happy to talk to them. You're treating them with a bit more respect, and once you start talking, you can kind of gather the feel of the conversation. And as a more advanced speaker, you should be able to learn to evaluate the situation or the conversation more, and then you can work from there. And if you start building up a a relationship with the person, over time you can become more and more informal with that person. It might even just be in the first conversation you might feel comfortable being informal. They might feel comfortable being informal with you. But you need to understand when it is right to be informal and when it's right to be formal. Remember, there will always be situations when you need to talk formally, okay? For example, if you're talking to a doctor, the bank, if you're in an interview, if you're talking to your boss, if you're talking to maybe your grandparents, you should speak formally, okay? Great. Thank you very much for listening to this lesson, and look forward to speaking to you next lesson. Thank you very much. Bye.